You gotta do it, man. There's nothing more important, right? There's nothing more important than you going after what you want and getting what you want. So here's a problem that many people struggle with, right? Before I get into this, for anybody new who has never seen or heard of me, never seen any of my videos, I'm Mike Malbrough from What's Better Than Great. This is What's Better Than Great. Welcome. And today we're going to talk about accepting the consequences of trying, right? Now, I'm going to start this by telling you a little bit about myself. When I was younger, I went through a very, very drastic, I don't know what to call it, other than I was heavily involved in anything having to do with get rich quick, right? And the reason why is because I really didn't want to accept the consequences of trying to do something major. I wanted it to be something that would be essentially effortless, right? Not understanding ultimately what happens when things are effortless is that you get a result, you stop putting in the effort that got the result, and then you go back to where you were, right? And that's really I can go deep into that. That's something that's called Imposter Syndrome that happens to a lot of people who were in my shoes. Now, what were my shoes like? I actually tried and tried and tried and tried and tried. I spent a ton of money trying everything and anything I could think of or that I could get my hands on, or any training I saw. I spoke to gurus. I went to seminars. I did all of that, right? But I ended up having actually a little bit of success through a book I read, right? Which I still would recommend the book. I just wouldn't recommend reading the book, taking it for gospel, and then running with it the way that I did, right? I would tell you to use your own brain, right? And use this as a way to start your journey of this is what I want to know more of. You know what I mean? So anyway, I actually got some results. And within 2 years, I went from basically nothing at all to about $500,000 worth of net worth. Now, this is net worth, right? It's not cash coming into your household every year. It's net worth, right? So that means that I own this much. I owe this much from what I have purchased that I'm counting. And this gap is my net worth, right? That's essentially how you calculate your net worth. So I was at $500,000 of net worth, which is essentially I'd have to sell all my stuff to get it and pay off the debt, or I would have to use debt to get it, therefore raising my debt and lowering my net worth. And what I realized, because my goal was only $1 million, what I realized is that that's it. There's really nothing. It's not really that big a deal. Nothing changes, right? And there's reasons why that happened. It was ultimately imposter syndrome. But the point is this, and here's the real problem that I want to address that most people struggle with, that if you believe in the law of attraction, if you struggle with achieving your goals, if you struggle with anything on any scale, it generally boils down to this. You have equated the getting of this thing that you say you want to pain, right? You believe that it should be painful to get this thing. And that's not true, right? Pain meaning like, now if it's, if you want to be in physical condition, it does require some pain. But if it's not pain as in like, oh, I have to do this in order to get it. It's not stressful pain. It's progress, right? And the problem is that most people don't realize that we're biologically engineered, right? The animal that we are in is biologically engineered to avoid pain, right? This is literally how motivation works. I'm going to run this way because there's pain over there. And that is where pleasure is. Those are the only two things that we ever really are motivated by, is the gaining of pleasure or the avoidance of pain, right? And so The problem that you run into is that either you are willing or you are not willing to accept whatever you have to do to get the thing you want, right? Now, there are people who've written book after book after book to help you to try to understand how this works. But I mean, the reality of it is this: ain't nothing free in this world, right? You got to put in work. And if you try to avoid the work, you're also avoiding the thing that you say you want, right? And that's okay if you feel like it's just something that's nice to have. If you're not really committed, if you've seen the commitment video, you know what I mean by committed. But if you're not committed, you're just not going to get it, right? And if you get it and you're still not committed, it'll go away. So you got to be okay with accepting the consequences of trying. You've got to be okay with essentially getting a little bit of dirt on your hands, or if you want to call it pain, you've got to get comfortable with pain, right? You've got to be able to say, I can deal with this. I can do it. You know what I mean? It's a little pain, but it's going to go away. Pain goes away. Every time pain goes away, right? Everybody who's seeing this video has probably either burned their hand or skinned their knee or, been broken up with, or, anything like that. Anything that would generally be painful has happened to you, and you don't necessarily feel it right now, right? So it goes away. So why do you fear it? If it won't kill you, if it's not danger and it's just pain, why do you fear it? Why do you try to avoid it? It doesn't make sense. But the reality of it is that our brain has nothing else to really label it, right? So all pain is danger. All pain leads to fear, and we run from it. So your goal is to train yourself that certain thresholds of pain are okay, right? And you do that by just not giving up. And you do that also by being willing to know, hey, this is going to be a little bit painful, but it'll be all right. It's kind of like going to the doctor and getting a shot in your arm, right? If you get a shot in your arm, it's going to be a little bit painful. It's going to hurt for a minute, then it'll go away. So I'm good. So you have to learn how to deal with the understanding that pain is going to come and it's going to go. And if I want something bad enough, I have to be willing to put up with the pain to get it, right? Now, it doesn't have to actually be pain, right? Because, and here's the thing, most people, especially the people who are listening to this that I'm talking to specifically, are not dealing with physical pain, right? Unless you're working out, it's not really physical pain. The people who are probably listening to this, it's mental and emotional pain, right? And here's the thing with that. You are always experiencing an emotion, right? And your emotions change. They are literally like this constantly. You get a gift that you didn't expect. You get happy, then you go outside and it's hot and you get a little bit frustrated and, you get bad. Like your emotions are constantly moving. And this is what I had to learn in order to really be able to take on what I'm trying to get you guys to take on today, which is accepting the fact that I gotta just do it, right? I had to learn about something called Stoicism, right? Stoicism is really a philosophy, right? And the philosophy is this: my emotions will go where they're going to go. I have to accept them so that I can ride this wave as still and as calm as possible, right? It doesn't mean that I don't feel my feelings or I ignore them. It means that I accept that they are valid. I accept that they are there. And I learned the lesson that they're trying to point out, because your emotions are not actually, you are not your emotions, right? You are not your emotions. Your emotions are a reaction to something, right? So what you have to learn is that there is a cause and effect to everything, right? There's a cause and effect to that thing that you feel. So it is the effect, right? Or it's the thing that came after. That's an easy way to understand it if you don't get how I'm saying that cause and effect thing. It's the thing that comes after, which is the cause, or excuse me, the effect, right? So what's the cause? What caused your emotion to come up, right? What is that trying to tell you? How can you take control of certain elements in that so that you don't have to go through that emotion again in this same situation. This is constantly learning. To me, this is the whole entire point, right? This is the whole entire point of self-help or self-improvement, right? Or personal development, whatever you want to call it. You have to learn to be constantly improving by constantly learning. You, yourself, have to be the scientist that runs the experiments on yourself. And if you don't, you are going to continue to repeat the same problems because you attract these same things because you think these same things, right? If you run from pain now, that pain will come back because you'll be in the same situation. So all you're doing by running from pain is guaranteeing that you'll see it tomorrow or see it a week from now or see it a year from now or 5 years from now. If you are in a situation right now, for example, with everything that's going on right now with the whole COVID thing, if you are in a situation right now where your finances ain't right, or your health's not right, or whatever, and you're blessed enough or lucky enough or however you want to see it, if you have a situation where you are still somewhat able to take care of yourself, but it's just not comfortable, right? This is an indicator. This tells you, hey, you know what? Maybe that business that's been in the back of my mind, maybe I should start that now. Hey, you know what? That extra 30 pounds I said I wanted to lose a long time ago, but never really did anything about, maybe it's a good time to go ahead and get that thing moving, right? Maybe it's on you, is essentially what you got to kind of say. It's like, hey, maybe it's on me to get what I want. And if you don't, then you don't, right? And you have to be okay with that too, if you choose not to go after what you want, because there's always consequences. You're not actually choosing to live a good life or not. You're choosing to pay the consequences to get it, right? And if you don't go after what you want, there are still consequences. So why not pay the consequence to get what you want, right? You're making a transaction, buy the thing you want. Hopefully you got something out of this, man. If you enjoyed this, I think you'll love my book. It's called Manifest Anything, and you can check it out at what'sbetterthangreat.com /book. what'sbetterthangreat.com /book. I talk about how you can really use a lot of the information that I talked about here and ultimately shift your self-image in a way that puts you online with your purpose and makes manifesting essentially effortless. All right. So if you're interested in that, go check that out at what'sbetterthangreat.com /book. Thanks for checking me out today and hanging with me. I hope you gained something from this, and I'll see you guys on the next video.